Well, good morning, everyone. Um, I don't know about you, but the weeks seem to be rolling along. Uh, when I was a kid, when I was young, it seemed like one year to the next seemed like it took forever. But now, the years come and go on a rapid pace, and I'm not sure about this, but it feels to me right now that in this time of isolation, the weeks are going even faster. And I don't know. But it's great to have you looking back at me on the other side of this camera. Great to see your smiling faces. Um, and say a quick hi in the chat area if you can. We got Bud and Marie. Good to see you. Mercedes, Ian, Lily. Yep, and Bob. Good to have you guys on online. That's awesome. Uh, Subscribe if you have the notion, if you can do that, and give this video a like if you can. I don't even know if you can if it's live, but if you can, do it. Okay, on with the devotional. Last week we were in 1 Samuel 5, and this week we're racing ahead to 1 Samuel 9. And there's a few things that have changed in between these times. The nation has now asked for a king, and he's pretty upset at the whole idea of them asking for a king. And I think it's because he took it personally. Like he was getting old, the people didn't like his sons, and so they were looking elsewhere. Or they didn't think he was doing a good job, or didn't think he could keep up the job. But anyway, God tells Samuel, no, they're not rejecting you. They're actually rejecting me. And God says to Samuel, they're rejecting me as their king. So God tells Samuel, go ahead, give them a king. Give them a king. And chapter 9 starts out with this story of Saul looking for lost donkeys. And it also, right at the beginning, gives a description of Saul. And it says he was impressive, without equal in all of Israel, a head taller than anyone. Maybe I'll just pause there for a minute. Good to have you with us, Pascal, and good to see you. Anyway, Saul and his servant go looking for these donkeys of his father's, and they're not having any luck at all. So Saul says, we should go back because my father's going to worry about us. And so Saul just decides that he's going to go back. I got to get my phone because I want to read you a passage. I want to read you verses 5 to 10, 1 Samuel 5. Hang on. That's being unprepared right there. Okay, I need my glasses. I told you the other week I used the ESV to do my devotions, but I don't have a copy of a hard copy of it here at the church. Anyway, let me read it for you. It says, when they came to the land of Zuph, Saul said to his servant who was with him, come on, let's go back, lest my father cease to care about the donkeys and become anxious about us. But he said to him, and that's the servant said to Saul, behold, there is a man of God in this city, and he is one who is held in honor, and all he says comes true. So now let's go there. Perhaps he can tell us the way we should go. Then Saul said to the servant, but if we go, what can we bring the man? For the bread in our sacks is gone, and there is no present to bring the man of God. What do we have? And the servant answered Saul and said, here, I have with me a quarter of a shekel of silver, and I will give it to the man of God to tell us our way. Formerly in Israel, when a man went to inquire of God, he said, come, let's go to the seer. For today's prophet was formerly called a seer. And Saul said to his servant, well said, Come, let's go. So they went to the city where the man of God was. Now, actually, this morning when I was going over this, I got something else from this passage that kind of goes with it. But what I got from the passage was that Saul has no inclination to ask for help or to seek help. He just is going to do his thing. And it's the servant who is interested in inquiring of God and finding out what God would give them direction. I just found that really interesting, and it kind of leads into what I was thinking about when I did this, when I read this passage a few weeks ago. So anyway, the verse that stood out to me was verse 7 that says, Then Saul said to his servant, But if we go, what can we bring the man? For the bread in our sack is gone, and there is no present to bring to the man of God. What do we have? And when I read that section, I thought, and take it with a grain because I'm looking at the whole passage, of course, I thought, man, Saul is no leader at all. I mean, he might look like a leader, and maybe, he might look like a leader. He might be taller than everyone else. He might be, he might be a bigger and strong. He just might look more like a leader, but he is being led around by his servant. And that whole idea of him not being much of a leader is confirmed in chapter 10:22 when they're casting lots to see who will be king. And the lot falls to Saul, but they can't find him. He's actually hiding among the baggage. He's afraid. He's timid. So I prayed, Lord, why would you pick a king who was not much of a leader? And I got a very distinct answer from God. Now, he didn't speak it out loud, but the idea in my head came very clearly and quickly. And it was this. So he would have to depend on me. And I prayed, wow, that makes a lot of sense, Lord. But as it turns out, Saul doesn't depend on you at all. He does his own thing. And then I thought, but you knew all about that, didn't you, Lord? So this is what I thought next. I thought this move really shows Israel that the man they looked to lead them, the one who looked like a leader, the one who was taller than everyone else, was no good without God. They still needed God to lead them. And it proves to be true. This whole thing proves to be true when Samuel went looking for the next king. Because he goes to Jesse's house and looks at his sons, and he starts focusing on the oldest, the biggest, the strongest in Jesse's family, and ends up with the smallest, the youngest, and the humblest of the whole lot. And though King David, did much wrong in his life, it may have been the power. You know, sometimes we say power corrupts, and maybe it was that, the power that he had that caused him eventually to go his own way. But at first, when he was young and for a long time while he led the nation, he looked to God, and he led well because he was being led by God. And that's the mark of a leader. We should always ask, who's leading the leader? And the more you allow God to lead your life, the more of a leader you can be. Because it's really God who's leading, and that's how he wants it to be. So I prayed. I'd written all this down, and so I prayed, Lord, help me to make more decisions with your counsel. Help me to talk to you more throughout the day. Help me to be led by you. And when I make decisions, may I first seek you to guide me in those decisions. And then I typed this in my journal. I put, leadership is humbly listening and following the real leader, God. And it doesn't matter who or what you're leading, whether it's a few donkeys, and you can take that any way you want, or if you're just leading yourself. God wants to be that leader. And the only way you and I can successfully lead our lives, or lead ourselves, is if God is leading us. So today, what decisions do you have to make? What plans are you contemplating? What interactions will you be engaged in? In all those things, seek God out. Seek to be led by the Lord. That's how you and I will successfully lead through life. And it's just the way God wants it to be. So that's my devotional for you today. And I'd like to pray for you. And so let me pray for you. Let me just check if there's anything I need to pray about here. Hi, Jessica. Good to have you with us. Okay, yeah, good comment, Pascal. All right, good. All right, let me pray for you. And don't forget, on tonight we have the End Time series live streamed at 7 o'clock. Don't forget the social tomorrow at 7. Friday at 7, show and tell. And you'll get a description today about what it's all about. And basically, it's just showing something that's interesting to you, or something that you've had in the family, whatever. Something that you want to show, let everybody know, and just tell. And it'll be very brief. We'll just give, people can just share for like 30 seconds, a minute, tell us what it is. If someone wants to ask a question, fine, but we'll just go through as many people as we can who want to share. And even if you don't want to share anything, come on and be part of that as well. And then, of course, so tonight, Friday, and don't forget Sunday for the service at 10:30. Let me pray for you. Lord, thank you that you are a great leader, and you want to be our leader. And I pray, Lord, that we would not desire to do our own thing, to be led our own way, but, Lord, that we would be led by you. I pray that you would help each one of us when we have decisions to make, plans that we contemplate, when we're going to be interacting with someone, talking to someone, discussing something. Lord, I pray that we would be nudged to just invite you into that conversation, to get your take, to see what you would have to say, which way we should go. And so, Lord, I pray that you would help us to be led by you in all that we do. And I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, have a great day, and we'll be seeing you in the next little bit. Okay, take care. Bye now.